Hello and welcome to Build Your Best Resume and Cover Letter. I'm Matt and my pronouns are he, him. We want to take a minute to invite you to turn on captioning by clicking the CC icon in the bottom right of this video. Additional closed caption settings, including translations, can be found by clicking the gear icon. Let's get started. Today's session is all about helping you build strong, effective job application materials that get noticed. We'll start by answering an important question. What is a resume? We'll talk about its purpose and why it's a critical part of the job search process. Next, we'll dive into what you should include on your resume, from your contact information to your experience, skills, and education. We'll also look at how to create targeted resumes, which means tailoring your resume for a specific job to show that you're the right fit. We'll also explore applicant tracking systems, otherwise known as ATSs, which are software that many employers use to screen resumes. I'll share tips to help make sure that your resume is readable and passes through these systems. A big part of that process is understanding how to find and use keywords effectively so that your resume aligns with the job description and has a better chance of being seen by a human recruiter. We will identify keywords using actual examples. We'll also introduce some helpful tools, such as resume builders, that can make formatting and writing easier, especially if you're starting from scratch. We'll then compare different types of resumes, such as chronological, functional, and combination formats, and we'll talk about when to use each. From there, we'll shift to the cover letter, what it is, why it matters, and how it complements your resume. We'll go over cover letter standards, including formatting, tone, and what to include to make a strong impression. And finally, we'll wrap up with a look at library resources that are available to help you, whether it's a one-on-one resume help, books, online tools, or workshops just like this one. Let's get started. What exactly is a resume? A resume is a concise professional document that gives employers a snapshot of who you are as a candidate. It highlights your work experience, key skills, education, and notable accomplishments, all of the information that they need to quickly determine whether you might be a good fit for the job. Most resumes are limited to one page, especially if you are early in your career or applying for entry-level roles. If you have extensive experience, like 10 or more years, or a strong portfolio of achievements, it's okay to go to 2 pages, but no more than that. It's also important to know that a resume should never be a one-size-fits-all. Every job is a little different, so you'll want to tailor your resume for each application. That means highlighting the experience and skills that match the specific job posting and using language that resonates with that specific employer. Your resume is your first impression, and in many cases, it determines whether or not you get an interview. So keeping it focused, relevant, and targeted is key. Every resume is going to be unique, but there is standard information that you'll need to include on almost any type of resume. First, you are going to want to start with your contact information. This should go at the top of your resume and include your full name, phone number, professional email address, and if relevant, your LinkedIn profile or online portfolio. Make sure all contact details are current and professional. This is the first impression an employer gets. Next, consider including a summary or an objective. This is a brief 2 or 3 sentence statement that highlights who you are professionally and what kind of role you're seeking. If you use one, make sure it's tailored to the specific job and adds value, not just a generic statement about yourself, but something that contributes to the overall impression that the hiring manager will get. Next comes the core of your resume. This is your experience section. List your jobs in reverse chronological order, starting with the most recent. Include your title, the company name, location, and the dates that you work there. Under each role, use bullet points to highlight your key responsibilities and accomplishments, usually those that relate to the job that you're applying for, and when you can, quantify and qualify your results with numbers and percentages. Unpaid work, volunteer work, and internships count as well. You can include all of these in your experience section unless you choose to make a volunteer work a separate section. Make sure to double check that you are using the correct tense throughout the document, present tense for any current jobs or positions, and past tense for any past or completed work. After your experience section, you'll want to include your education. This can be high school, college, trade school, or apprenticeships depending on your background and what's most relevant for the role. Following education, you'll want to list your skills, certifications, professional associations, or publications. These help paint a full picture of your qualifications. Think about software you know, languages you speak, relevant licenses or trainings, or any professional groups or work that you have had published. Now, let's also discuss what not to include. You don't want to list your references on the resume itself. Instead, keep those in a separate document and offer them when requested. Also, never include your social security number, a headshot, or information about any past incarceration. That kind of personal information isn't appropriate for a resume and can unintentionally create bias. That said, if you've learned skills or earned certifications during your incarceration, you should absolutely include those. Focus on what's relevant and demonstrates your growth and strengths. The goal of this document is that you have a clean and focused resume that highlights your fit for the job without distracting or unnecessary details. It's best to create one general resume that has all of your experience and information on it that you can tailor to each job you apply for. You shouldn't be sending this general resume out to everyone, but should customize it to each job. Remember when we were talking about keywords? This is where those will become important. You want to look at every individual job posting and identify keywords to see what the employer wants. You're always going to want to read the job posting carefully and pick out all of those keywords that are relevant to the work that you will be doing. We're going to explain on a later slide how to pull out those keywords from each job posting. But in the meantime, if you're looking for other examples beyond what we have in this presentation, please check out library books, LinkedIn, other websites for job search, and our own database Career Cruising, where you can find numerous examples and ideas of what you might want to include for your particular field. The library's collection includes countless books with industry-specific examples, as well as examples that are tailored for returning citizens, veterans, or recent graduates. So everybody has something represented in the collection. Many or even most online job applications will use something called an applicant tracking system. This is basically a computer program that scans your application and resume for keywords that the employer has decided are essential to the job. You can find clues to what these keywords are by looking at the job description and seeing which words come up repeatedly or appear to be important for the role. We'll talk more about finding keywords and tailoring your resume in a bit by using an actual example of a job posting. We also want to make sure that the resume is readable by a person. The information should be sorted in a clear manner and give them no reason to discard your resume based on simple things like formatting. A clear and simple and concise resume is the best for both a person and the applicant tracking system. Here are some of the best tips to ensure that your document is easy for the interviewer to peruse and for it to pass through the applicant tracking system. First, stick to clean, readable fonts like sans serif fonts, such as Arial or Calibri, and keep the font size between 11 and 12 points. Fancy fonts or overly small text can confuse the system or make your resume hard to read for the interviewer. Second, one of the best ways to help your resume get picked up by the ATS is to use keywords directly from the job posting. So if the job ad mentions things like project management, data entry, or customer service, and you have experience in any of those areas, make sure those exact phrases appear naturally in your resume. Third, avoid using headers, footers, tables, text boxes, or columns to organize your resume. These can cause your content to be misread or skipped altogether by the system. Instead, use bullet points and simple formatting to keep things clean and scannable. Finally, Always save your resume as a PDF unless the employer asks for a different file type. A PDF helps preserve your formatting, but if the job posting says to submit a Word doc, follow those instructions exactly. Making your resume ATS friendly increases your chances of it getting into the hands of a real person, which is our ultimate goal. We've done a lot of talking about keywords, so let's dive a little bit deeper into them because they play a huge role in getting your resume past an ATS and in front of a recruiter. So, what are keywords? In the job search world, they're specifically words or phrases that describe the skills, qualifications, and experiences the employer is looking for. These often come straight from the job posting itself. Here's how to find them. We're going to carefully read the job description. Pay attention to repeated words or phrases such as positive attitude, guest satisfaction, professional communication, hospitality experience, or food safety procedures. Also look at the required qualifications or certifications, such as maybe food handler's permit or previous restaurant experience. These are keywords as well. Once you've identified those keywords, look at your own experience and ask yourself, do I have this skill or qualification? If the answer is yes, then make sure that that keyword or string of keywords appears somewhere in your resume, ideally in your bullet points or summary statement. But remember, only use keywords that are actually true for your background. Don't stuff your resume with phrases that don't match your experience. Not only is that misleading, but it can backfire in an interview. By using the right keywords, you're making your resume more relevant to the job and increasing your chances of getting noticed and called in for an interview. Now let's talk about resume builders, which are online tools that help you create resumes using templates and guided steps. There are many free and paid options available. Websites like Canva, Zeti, Resume Genius, and even Microsoft Word or Google Docs offer pre-made templates that can save you a lot of time. Let's look at the pros first. They make it easy to get started, especially if you're not sure how to format. You can end up with a professional looking resume without needing any major design skills. And they're a great option for people with limited typing mobility, tech confidence, or writing experience. But they also come with some downsides to keep in mind. Many templates can be a bit generic. Some layouts include columns, graphs, and tables, which, as we mentioned earlier, can confuse the applicant tracking system and prevent your resume from being read correctly. And some builders make it hard to customize or tweak formatting if you want to tailor your resume more specifically. So, while resume builders are a great starting point, especially for your first draft, it's a good idea to download your resume as a Word or plain text file, clean it up, and make sure it's ATS friendly before you submit it. Some CLP resources like Career Cruising and Gale Presents Peterson's Test and Career Prep have resume builders that are easy to use and produce nice looking resumes. Now let's take a look at some of the most common types of resumes. Chronological resumes are the most commonly used resume format and still are the preferred format for most. These put the focus on your work experience, emphasize your major accomplishments, and highlight your progressive skill sets. If you've had a straightforward career path, chronological resumes are the best choice. That said, there are many of us who haven't had a straightforward career path. If you are a recent graduate or have a large gap in your employment history for any type of reason, whether you were laid off, incarcerated, or took time to raise children or care for parents, a functional resume can be a better choice. Functional resumes are also a great choice if you're switching careers. This type of resume highlights your skills rather than listing your work history in order. You will still have the same information on here, but the skills section is the highlight of your resume, and your work experience will be a simpler, shorter list towards the bottom. A hybrid resume combines elements of both the chronological and functional resumes. You'll include an experience section with bullet points of your accomplishments, but you'll also have a more prominent summary and skills section. Now let's do a deep dive on the chronological resume. This is often referred to as the standard resume. It's the most commonly used and preferred resume style. It focuses on your work experience, emphasizes your major accomplishments, and highlights your growing skills over time. If you've had a straightforward career path like we mentioned before, a chronological resume is the best choice. In this format, your resume information is presented in reverse chronological order, meaning your most recent experience appears first, followed by earlier jobs, education, and the other sections. Employers widely recommend this layout because it clearly shows your career progression and highlights your most relevant recent experience. It also works well for candidates with a consistent work history in the same field who want to showcase steady growth or advancement, perhaps in a specific company or organization. And also, because it's straightforward and easy to scan, a chronological resume often gives hiring managers the clearest picture of your qualifications and your growth over time. We'll cover the other formats in the next slide, but this is generally the best place to start for most job seekers. As we mentioned before, not everyone has a straightforward career path, and that's okay. If you're a recent graduate or have a significant gap in your employment history, a functional resume might be a better option for you. This format is also great if you're switching careers and want to focus on your skill sets instead of your work timeline. Unlike a chronological resume, a functional resume prioritizes your skills and abilities, making them the centerpiece of your resume. Your work history is still included as demonstrated in this sample, but it is a simple, shorter list without much detail or dates if you choose to exclude them. This type of resume can be very helpful for career changers who want to highlight transferable skills. Essentially, the goal here is to demonstrate how your skills make you a strong candidate regardless of the changes in your career history or the gaps in the time that you are working. You are demonstrating to them your ability to complete the tasks that they have in the job posting. Now we're going to take a brief look at the hybrid resume, which combines features of both the chronological and the functional formats. A hybrid resume typically starts with a summary and skills section that highlights your key abilities and strengths, though not as detailed as a full functional resume. Following that, you can include a traditional experience section with your jobs listed in chronological order, each with a bullet point describing your duties and accomplishments. This format gives you the best of both worlds, because it's more familiar to employers than a simply pure skills-based resume, but it also lets you showcase your transferable skills prominently near the top of your resume. It's a great choice if you want to highlight your skills, but also demonstrate a clear work history and your accomplishments in that time. I would like to take a brief moment to mention some of the next steps in your job search and preparation beyond the resume. The cover letter is one of the most important documents that we are going to talk about besides the resume. Most resumes are pretty similar in terms of format and even the experience that you have listed when you have multiple people applying in a specific industry. But your cover letter really lets you show the employer why you're the best fit for the job. Do you have a particular project that you're very proud of, or is there something that you have done in your time in the roles that you've had before that doesn't really fit on the resume but might make a good story to tell? These are things that you can incorporate into your cover letter to really separate you from the rest of the crowd. We will discuss the cover letter for the remainder of this class. But before we dive into that, we want to talk about two other major aspects of the job search. Social media sites in general play a much larger role in the job search than they used to. I highly recommend setting up a LinkedIn account if you haven't already. LinkedIn serves as a professional social media site that allows you to network, put your information out there, and can be a great way for you to connect with industry professionals that you are looking to either be employed by or get connected with. Essentially, it's a great way to put yourself out there and be identifiable, and then also search other people and be able to identify them. Additionally, we also want to take some time to talk about the other social media that exists beyond LinkedIn. Most of us have some type of social media footprint, and we just want to make sure that we are all aware that potential employers do often look at these. It's fine if you make your account private, but if you do have a public Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, or any other social media account, make sure that there's nothing on there that might hinder your job search. Just something to keep in mind. Now let's talk about the cover letter, which is the other key part of most job applications right alongside your resume. A cover letter is a short, one-page document that you submit with your resume. While the resume lists your experience and skills, the cover letter gives you a chance to explain why you're a strong fit for the position in a more personal and conversational way. Think of it as your opportunity to introduce yourself to the employer and express interest in the role, highlight your most relevant experiences, skills, and accomplishments, explain why you're interested in the specific job and company and how you can fit their needs, and then, of course, show a little bit of your personality and professionalism in your communication. For example, if you were applying to that Applebee's position as a server, your cover letter might mention your love for working with people, your ability to thrive in a fast-paced environment, your past success in handling multiple tables while maintaining excellent customer service, and it's also a great place to mention something that may not be obvious from your resume, like a gap in employment, a career change, or your excitement about relocating. In short, a cover letter gives context to your resume and helps your employer see you as a real person, not just a list of qualifications. Now let's go over some basic but important formatting rules to make sure that your cover letter looks professional and is easy to read. We want to keep this document to one page. Hiring managers are busy, so a concise letter is best for effective communication. You want to use a clean, professional font like Arial or Calibri in size 11 or 12. And ideally, it's a good idea to match the font style and size with your resume for consistency. You want to format this document like a traditional letter, which means including contact information at the top, followed by the employer contact details. Next, we're going to want to align all of the text to the left side of the page using single spacing to keep it neat. Set your margins to 1 inch on all sides to give the letter a balanced appearance and enough white space. Following these format basics helps your cover letter look polished and professional, making a strong first impression before the employer ever even reads your words. Use the example to the right to get a visual of how the document should generally look. It is important to note that across the next 5 slides, these are all content suggestions. Unlike a resume, cover letters have more flexibility in the language used and their structure, which allows for more of an applicant's own personality to come through. Think of the cover letter as a place to really let yourself as an applicant shine. So if you think a different structure would work better for you or feel more natural, then by all means use it. Now, let's go over the first part of your cover letter, the heading and greeting. Start with a heading that matches the look and format of your resume. This helps create a cohesive professional application. Include your full name, email, phone number, and address if appropriate. Be sure to use a professional email address, ideally with your first and last name, like the example jane.doe@gmail.com. Avoid casual or outdated emails. If you're submitting a printed copy of your letter, especially by hand or by mail, you should also include the employer's name and full address underneath your contact information. Next comes the greeting. Avoid generic lines like "to whom it may concern" because they feel impersonal. Instead, try to address the letter to the specific person, such as the hiring manager, direct supervisor, or department head. You can often find this information by clicking the company's website and calling, or possibly calling the front desk. If you can't find a name, "Dear Hiring Manager" is a safe and respectful alternative. Getting the introduction right sets a professional tone for the rest of your letter. Now let's take a look at how to write the first paragraph of your cover letter. This is your opening and sets the tone. Start by mentioning the job title you're applying for and where you found the posting. For example, on Indeed, LinkedIn, or through a referral. Then express genuine enthusiasm for the position. This helps make your letter feel more personal and intentional. Next, share why you're interested in the company or organization. Is there something specific that drew you in, like their mission, culture, recent news, or project that they're working on? Showing that you've done some research and that you understand the company's goals makes a strong first impression. Here's an example of what that might sound like. I'm excited to apply for the graphic designer position at Cloud Clearwater that I found on Indeed. I understand you're currently adding several new product lines, and I believe that my skills in video and animation provide a significant advantage for creating a successful launch. As a longtime fan of your products, I'm thrilled at the opportunity to bring my unique style and passion for beachwear to the company. Notice how this example clearly names the position, shows knowledge of the company, and conveys enthusiasm all in just a few lines. Your goal in this paragraph is to hook the reader and show that you're applying to this job for a real reason. Next, let's focus on the second paragraph of your cover letter. This is where you will show the employer that you're a strong match for the position. Start by clearly connecting your experience to what the job requires. Pull key skills or qualifications from the job description and relate them directly to your background. Then, go a step further by sharing a brief story or example, something that shows how you used your skills to solve a problem or accomplish something meaningful. This helps bring your qualifications to life and makes your letter more memorable. You should also highlight 1 to 2 specific achievements that are relevant to the job. Whenever possible, include measurable results, such as percentages, dollar amounts, or other outcomes to show the real impact that you made. Here's an example. As the Director of Human Resources at West Morgan Phillips, I was a key senior leader in the organization and was responsible for improving the efficiency and performance of the company's 540 employees. Before that, I worked in human resources, equal employment opportunity, and diversity for Jenkins Technology Solutions Incorporated. At Jenkins Technology, I developed an employee retention plan involving a wellness program, an internal training program, and a promotion selection process. This led to a 50% reduction in the overall employee turnover rate. This paragraph not only shows relevant leadership and HR experience, it also includes a concrete result, which gives it extra credibility. Your second paragraph is your best opportunity to prove your value to the company and show how you're already doing the kind of work that they need. The third paragraph of your cover letter is a great place to make your final case and help the employer see why they should choose you over other candidates. You can use this space to highlight 1 or more key skills that directly relates to the job. Avoid repeating your resume. Instead, share a brief story or example that shows your value in action. If you're changing careers, this is a great place to explain transferable skills or past experiences that applies to this new role. This paragraph should help the employer picture you making an impact in that role and feel confident that you'd be a strong hire. Here's an example of how that could sound. Achieving ambitious marketing goals is always a top priority, and I'm always looking out for the company's best interests. I enjoy delivering marketing presentations to potential clients and focusing on an organization's strengths. My marketing skills at River Tech helped the company experience new levels of success and a 45% increase in customer engagement. I'm never satisfied with the status quo, and I believe that a company should continually look for ways to improve and reach new clients through innovative campaigns. This applicant reinforces their mindset, past success, and the value they can bring. That's exactly what you want your third paragraph to do. Let's finish off by talking about the final paragraph of your cover letter. This is your conclusion and sign off. This section should summarize why you're applying and why you'd be a strong fit, invite the employer to contact you. You can refer to the contact info you provided in the heading, and then thank them for their time and consideration. Above all, you want to end with a professional closing and your name. If it's typed, make sure to have your name written out, and if it's signed, if you're printing it handwritten. Here is an example of a final paragraph. Thank you for your time and consideration. I look forward to learning more about the sales position and trade lot. Growth is essential to my continued success, and I'm excited for the chance to be a part of Trade Lot's industry-leading team. My proven track record and TradeLot's quality products are a winning combination for increasing the company's market share. And it ends with, sincerely, Malik Rob. This ending is polite, enthusiastic, and leaves the employer with a clear sense of the candidate's motivation and professionalism. The goal here is to leave a strong final impression and keep the door open for next steps, such as an interview. Here we have an example of a full cover letter that incorporates all of the content that we have previously discussed. First, you'll want to note the professional heading with the full name and contact information, which uses a professional email. For example, this is a first and last name at gmail.com. We have a personalized greeting, so it's addressed to a specific person, aka Mr. Robert Smith, who is the hiring manager of this position, instead of addressing it to a generic to whom it may concern. It shows effort to find the hiring manager's name and that you took the effort to actually write it out, which is recommended. You have a clear introduction, which states the exact job title and where the listing was found. So, for example, the restaurant server position at Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar, which I found on the company website. It expresses genuine enthusiasm for the company and the role. Mentions knowledge about the Applebee's culture, so warm and welcoming. A lot of this can be found on the website and looking at their mission statement or their vision statement, and often you can kind of get an idea based off of the description itself. They have emphasis on matching their experience to the job, so they provide relevant experience as a server in a similar fast-paced environment. They use explicit achievements in their previous position. So, for example, average of 80 guests a day, 95% customer satisfaction, and including the communication system that reduced errors. These are all relevant and direct connections to the role that they're going to be having in this new position. They use numbers and measurable results, which makes them a concrete idea in the mind of the interviewer. They also highlight their skills and personal qualities in that third paragraph, so they emphasize teamwork and the ability to stay calm under pressure. They show passion for hospitality and commitment to quality service aligned with the employer's needs. They connect their soft skills, so communication, and attitude to the company's reputation and goals. For their final paragraph, they thank the employer for their consideration in a polite and professional manner. It invites them to further contact and discuss the fit of the role and their contribution to their team. It expresses excitement about joining the team and ends on a positive, forward-looking note. The overall achievement that this cover letter creates is a succinct and compelling tone without rambling that's directly related to what the job posting has asked for. They utilize keywords related to hospitality and customer service when it's naturally included. And then they also have a well-organized, easy-to-read, direct letter that follows all of the formatting principles that we discussed. This is a perfect example of how you can create your cover letter. Again, it must be noted that not all cover letters are the same, but this is a very by the books cover letter that you can use as a rough idea of how yours should look. Let's take a moment to talk about what makes a bad cover letter so you know what to avoid. First, a bad cover letter focuses too much on what the applicant wants rather than what they can offer the employer. An example would be, I'm looking for a job that helps me grow in my skills and gives me flexible hours. This might be a true statement, but your cover letter should focus on the value that you bring to the company. So instead, you could phrase something like this. I'm excited to bring my customer service experience and positive attitude to your team. Beyond just the way that you are phrasing your experience and your interactions with the employer, you want to make sure that the cover letter is not just a repeat of your resume. You don't want it to just be an itemized list of your qualifications. Instead, your cover letter should go beyond your resume. Think of it as your opportunity to tell a short story where you connect the dots and explain why your experience matters for this specific job, and you can personalize your message to the employer. Now, given that, We also want to make sure that your cover letter is not too personal, too wordy, or off topic. Avoid getting too casual, oversharing, or including details that don't directly relate to the job. For example, talking about your childhood love of food might seem charming, but unless it ties back to specifically your work ethic or knowledge of the restaurant environment, it's best left out. A good cover letter is focused, professional, and tailored. It keeps the employer's needs at the center. Now that we've talked about what not to do, let's go over some tips for writing a stronger cover letter, one that grabs attention for the right reasons. First, keep your writing compelling and succinct. A cover letter should be no longer than a few short paragraphs. Avoid rambling or repeating your resume. Instead, make every sentence count by focusing on your enthusiasm for the role and what you bring to the table. Always make sure to incorporate keywords relevant to the job and the industry, and incorporate phrasing relevant to the specific role that you are applying for. Finally, don't underestimate the importance of spelling, grammar, and polished writing. While formatting matters to a certain degree, a clear, well-written letter will always stand out more than a beautifully designed one with typos. Proofread carefully, and even better, ask someone else to review it for clarity and errors. A strong cover letter shows that you're professional, prepared, and genuinely interested in the position. It can be the difference between getting an interview or getting overlooked. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a few final tips that can make a real difference in the quality and effectiveness of your job application materials. First, we suggest that you organize for success. It may sound simple, but being organized can really reduce stress and help you stay on track during your job search. I recommend creating a separate folder for each job that you apply to. This isn't just for your resume and cover letter, it's also where you should save any emails, interview confirmations, job descriptions, or notes about the company. That way, everything you need is in one place and you won't mix up information between different applications. Next, we also want you to remember that your application should always focus on the company needs, not just your own background. A strong resume and cover letter are not just a summary of what you've done, they're a response to what the employer is looking for. You always want to ask yourself, what is the company looking for? What problems are they trying to solve with this role? How do my skills help meet these needs? And the best way to answer all of these is to do your research. Look at the company's mission, recent news, their values, and the exact wording of the job posting. In short, when you approach your application from the employer's point of view and stay organized in the process, you're far more likely to make a positive and lasting impression. This concludes the instructional content on resumes and cover letters in this presentation. For the remainder of our slides, we will be going over the library resources and services that are at your disposal as library patrons. We have a variety of different ways that we can assist you in your job search and any other interests related to the library experience. First and foremost, we have other classes and workshops. While this class was a recording and posted on our website, we would like to reiterate that we have other topics that we cover in both an in-person and hybrid setting. So these classes can be accessed by attending at the physical location where they are being held, or you can access them online during a live stream. Note that these are not recorded. These cover many different job and career topics, but we also have, as part of our career business and nonprofit department, topics that are covering nonprofit strategies, business plans, market and industry research, as well as many different guest presenters. There's always new stuff coming up, so please check on our website at www.carnegielibrary.org/events for those. We also offer staff assistance. If you would like personalized help, you can get support in person or virtually. You can access us by calling 412-622-3114 to speak with someone directly, or you can use the chat window on the library website at carnegielibrary.org. We also have an email option if you want to email your questions or set up an appointment at info@carnegielibrary.org. Or, of course, you can speak with us directly in person at any of our library branches. We can set up one-on-one appointments where we will sit and talk with you for the full hour and go over any of your specific needs related to your job search or the topics that we have already mentioned. We also have our print and ebook collection. The library has an extensive collection of print books and e-resources on job searching, resume writing, interview skills, and countless more that are available at carnegielibrary.org/e-resources. And then we also have our Job and Career LibGuide. This is perhaps one of the most relevant and important resources that we can discuss today. If you access that web link, you will find a library guide that is set up with different tabs on countless different subjects and aspects of the job search. Within each of those tabs, you'll find major information and links and connections to all of the information that you might need in your job search progress. Essentially, this is your one-stop shop for accessing anything and everything related to that particular topic, and it helps you access all of these other resources. Beyond that library guide, we also have online databases that you can access. Some of them, and the most common one for you, would be Career Cruising. This is a database that contains countless information related to the various positions and roles that are out there, so it can explain what kind of education you might need. It covers all of the training and experience that goes into those particular roles, as well as gives an outlook on the general market conditions related to those particular positions. There's also scholarships on there and many other pieces of information. If you're interested, please take a look at that link and access Career Cruising. It's a great resource. But beyond this, let's go to our next slide. Please check back regularly to see the list of upcoming classes available in both in-person and hybrid sessions. We want to emphasize that if you need any help, we are here for you. One-on-one appointments are the best way for us to take the time and help you go over your documents, along with answering any in-depth questions that you may need help with. Please feel free to set up an appointment by contacting us at the numbers provided previously, or if you wish to contact me directly, as I am the Job and Career Librarian, you can contact me at 412-281-4663 or at chabakm@carnegielibrary.org. Again, that's CHABAKM at carnegielibrary.org. Thank you for watching Build Your Best Resume and Cover Letter. More information can be found at carnegielibrary.org by making a one-on-one appointment or stopping by your preferred CLP location.